Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM, you're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Talk Local to Me. I am so happy to have you listening in with us today, or whether you've downloaded and you're subscribed to the podcast and you're joining us on a day later on this week. Thank you for being a subscriber and a listener to Talk Local to Me. Talk Local to Me is brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition. I am Heather Alto, the executive director of said coalition, and also the host of the Talk Local to Me podcast, aired on the wonderful Grove Street .fm. Right, Woody?
That's right. Thank you.
What are you laughing at? What is so funny?
No, great plug. I just appreciate it. You do such a great job.
It's so great that you're laughing at me.
So great. It's laughing with enthusiasm.
If I fired you right now, would we have a show? I'm just kidding. So no, anyway, seriously though, we do love being here. This the Watts Creative Studios is a fabulous. I would say if you're interested in looking into a podcast, are you open to other podcasts?
Yeah, we love more. We're adding more show. We've added more shows, and we're adding more in April too. So, we're excited. So yeah, the more the merrier. Let's do it. Let's build a good lineup.
Do you already know who those shows are? Are they secret shows?
No, it's not secret. No, they will announce it soon.
Secret? Okay.
They will announce it soon. But one that we're really happy is going to be from the D-Day Memorial.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so they're going to have one. So I'm super excited for that one.
Okay. Well, and I love listening to your newest, your Lost in Time with D.W. Lawhorn.
That's a fun one.
One of my favorites, and he and I have already been plugging some ideas around with how we can bring some more 80s stuff to like our area.
It's such a fun show too, because like the 80s, like just the music and movies, they're special. So
everything about the 80s is awesome. Yeah. If anyone asked me if I could go back to like a certain decade, it would probably be the 80s for me. Although I will say, and I didn't live in like the 60s or 70s, but some of that looks kind of cool too. Yeah. Like when you watch movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So it may not be as cool as movies make it out to be, but I mean, the 80s were awesome though. I was there for that.
The best movies, period. And music. I really do.
Oh, definitely the best movies. Yeah. I make my 10-year-old watch all the old 80s movies. It's like if I like it, she has to watch it. So like, she loves Girls Just Want to Have Fun and, Dirty Dancing. And I feel like there's one I made her watch recently and she was not as thrilled. I think it was Mighty Ducks. You're like, who doesn't like Mighty Ducks?
That's a great one.
But that might have been 90s. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that was 90s. That's why.
Anyway, well, I have been going around downtown today, downtown Bedford, passing out our Bedford in Bloom flyers because we are hosting that again this year. And if you live in the Central Virginia area and you listen to the podcast and you have children, bring them out to Bedford in Bloom on April 9th, starting at 10 a.m., downtown Bedford. And they're going to get to Easter egg hunt through some of the local businesses. They'll have Easter eggs that you can go to, and they're stuffed with candy. Some have little strips of paper where they'll win like little gift certificates. And new this year, we're doing an Easter bonnet and bunny ear parade, because how much fun is that? Do you have a bonnet, Woody?
I don't have a bonnet. I was wondering. You want me to say?
Make our own.
Yes, I have several actually. I do.
I'm gonna message Laura and be like, "Can you make Woody a bonnet?
Can you make him wear his bonnet? He wears it at home. I don't know why he wouldn't wear it out.
You could bring like your little dog with you, your little puppy.
Yeah,
and go
absolutely
march across the street.
I'll do it.
So, but anyway, yes, I used to love the little Easter bonnet parades when I was little. We used to do those. Actually, my church used to do it where you had to, it was the weirdest thing now that I think about it, because it was kind of weird. But you had to do like an Easter bonnet on your stuffed animal. And it was a stuffed animal bonnet parade. And you took I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, I didn't make the idea up. But so anyway, we're doing the bonnet parade. And then we figured some boys probably didn't want to wear bonnets. So we thought they could wear Easter bunny ears and decorate those however they would like.
Good thinking.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's happening at 10. So if you have a kid that wants to participate in that, we're meeting at the Wells Fargo building right there on the corner. And then we're just going to kind of walk down the sidewalk in our Easter bonnets and bunny ears and show those off. And then we'll start the
So if
egg
you
hunt.
see that, and you're in Bedford, it's planned.
Hey.
Okay, so it's not just a random gathering of bonnet bunny ears.
You never know.
It is.
Maybe it might be, but
I thought you were going to say take a picture of Heather in a bonnet. I was
take
going
a
to say
picture and hashtag.
nothing can be as bad as if you are a part of our CVABC members only page. And I don't know if you are, but if you aren't, you should be if you're a member. Because our last coffee talk, my lovely director of membership took a picture of me riding up and down the stair lift for the Independent Lifestyles. They had one of those chair lifts. And I was demonstrating it during their little speech. And so she posted that to that.
That needs to be on the
page.
Grove Street Facebook page. I don't know why that's locked away in
I
members
can
only.
send it to
That's
you.
it. We need to do. So if anybody is going down the street and you see Heather in a bonnet and or bunny ears, please,
Maybe both.
Please email that to Grove Street. We'll be glad to post that for you.
We should. I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna take a
That's
selfie.
It's the new
post it.
billboard.
Yes. So, but yeah, so Bedford and Bloom, April 9th. Come out and have fun with the Easter egg hunt, but check out all the local businesses. Again, as you know, I'm a huge supporter of shopping local, supporting local. And, we want people to see the different businesses that we have in the Bedford area because we have some businesses that have been here for very long standing. Rapid Printing, they've been around for 50 plus years. Author's Jewelry has been around, People's Furniture. But we also have new businesses. I mean, Terrace Blooms is a newer floral shop. She's been here for the past couple of years. BVA Mercantile, of course, which just won our Retail Business of the Year. They've been here now a little over 2 years. You have, the Bedford Boys Tribute Center that you can go into and learn more about the history of the Bedford Boys in our area. And you have another business that's participating that's new this year is Adams Clocks. They're right on the corner of Main Street and Bridge Street. So, and then of course, Ever After Florist, Blue Lady, they'll be participating too. And so there's just a lot of businesses I think people have no idea even exist in our cute little town. And I want people to get out and meet them and find out that sort of thing. So anyway, I also have here with me today, and we're going to talk a little bit more with the two of them later, but I know y'all have met Autumn Myers, our director, our events assistant. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you think you were a director.
She's got a promotion right there.
Sorry, no promotion for you. No, but she's our events and membership assistant, and she's been with us now for almost a year. Well, she's been volunteering for about 5.
Off and on for a while, yeah.
Yeah, so we finally decided we'd start paying her to come to work so that she'd keep coming. And so she's here. And then we have our new director of events. And okay, I'm getting ready to say her name. And for those of you who have listened to the show for a while, I didn't even get this until a minute ago, but it is going to be funny. But we have our new director of events, Danielle Oots. And for those of you who may remember when Diane was leaving, we jokingly said we were going to get a Danielle and that the person who was coming in had to be a Danielle. And seriously, we did not plan this at all. And I'd actually forgotten about it until Woody reminded me when we came in today.
I never forget when I'm right. So I'm always quick to remind people it was my idea.
Uh-huh.
And you're welcome.
You also never forget when you actually listen to the show and then you remember it,
I don't
right?
start listening until 12:30.
Until 12:30.
I don't even know why I'm chiming in right now.
Woody sleeps until 12:30. Then he decides he wants
Then I'll wake up
to be a part of the show.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to talk with Danielle a little bit more in the second half of the show and, just kind of get to know her. And I wanted to introduce everyone because she's going to be out and about handling our events for the rest of this year. And, but she also does another business as well. So I like to always promote small business. But again, speaking about business, our first guest of the day today, and I want to say that one of the things I love about small business is that, not every small business just, you don't just wake up one morning and go, oh, I think I'm just going to start this business. There's usually a backstory. There's usually a reason behind your business. And I have with me today Cheyenne Aliff with Finding Joy Boutique. And we're going to be talking with her about her why she started her business and a little bit, we're going to get into some stuff and I'll go ahead and warn y'all might be a little bit sensitive and we're going to walk through this and it's going to be great. But thank you for coming on with me, Cheyenne.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just to kind of start out, I'm just going to ask you just kind of the basic, like what kind of brought you into Finding Joy Boutique? What are we kind of chatting about?
So Finding Joy Boutique, I started a couple of years ago, and the name came from having depression. And one of the reasons I had depression was my first son was born with congenital diaphragmatic hernia. You often hear it called CDH. And it was one of those it was a long 4 months. Many people never hear of CDH until it happens to them. It's very common, though. It's actually as common as cystic fibrosis and spina bifida. But from where there's not a lot of awareness, many people don't know of it. When we were told that our son Jackson had it, that was actually the first time we'd ever heard of it. And unfortunately, it's now part of our life.
I'll be honest, when you first told me you wanted to come on and talk about CDH, I had to look it up because I had not heard of it. And I wasn't sure, exactly what the CDH stood for. And, the more I read about it, I thought to myself, I'm surprised I hadn't, because you're right. It is, a common, a common illness in babies, but I hadn't. And so, I think there are a lot of things people, a lot of people struggle with different things, especially when there's so many different things when you have a child that they hear of preeclampsia, they hear of, they hear of spina bifida, they hear of, cerebral palsy, they hear of those sort of things, but there's some of the underlying ones that you don't hear about that are just as important.
Yes.
And affect families all over the country, or the nation, or, the world. So, now we were talking a little bit about, CDH Awareness Day is coming up, and I know you had messaged me and said that there's a little bit of a there's a little bit of a story on that, like when it actually is.
Yes.
But you recognized it in March 31st?
Yes, I recognize CDH Awareness Day as March 31st. There's a couple of different organizations and people throughout the world that recognize it as March 31st, and then there's some that recognize it as April 19th. The organization that had reached out to our family when we had CDH was Breath of Hope, and they recognized it as March 31st, and their awareness color is turquoise. And that is why you will see in my logo, a lot of my tattoos are turquoise, and that is all because of CDH. Just a little tribute to Jackson and to all the other babies that have had CDH.
So let's talk about CDH in general. So you've told us what it stands for. You told us what the CDH stands for. But tell us a little bit more about what it is, and, is there a treatment for it? What kind of things, when someone hears, your child has CDH, what are some of the things that you can tell us about that?
So CDH, the diaphragmatic hernia, your diaphragm is a thin sheet of muscle, and it separates your abdomen from your chest. And if it fails to fully form or has a hole in it, sometimes some of their abdominal organs will get into their chest cavity. That prevents their lung growth. For Jackson, he had CDH on the right side, and typically when it's on the right side, their liver is more likely to go into their chest cavity, which prevents their lung from growing. 17% of babies will have a right-sided hernia, while 83%, which is, of course, most common, is left-sided. Sometimes their bowels will also go into their chest cavities, and with Jackson, that was one of the things they believed had happened. So the prognosis of babies diagnosed with CDH, it's about 50%. There is no indication. They don't know what the prognosis will be until it gets there. Y'all, I didn't think I'd cry. With Jackson, he was born September 27th, 2012, and we had him at UVA because we found out 32 weeks in utero that he had CDH.
Okay, that was going to be one of my
Yes.
questions was, can you is it something that you don't find out until your baby's born, or can they actually look for that leading into?
Yes.
Okay.
Typically, they find it normally at like that anatomy ultrasound, 18 weeks, somewhere around there. We're not sure why. Maybe it was just his position. We did not find it until 32 weeks.
Okay.
And that was because my amniotic fluid had doubled what it should have been. And so they knew, okay, something's not right. And they found it. So we started seeing specialists, and we had to go to UVA because they have a machine called ECMO. And it's very likely a baby with CDH will need it. And so I delivered there, and he did end up needing the ECMO machine. He was born on September 27th and had to go on it October 5th. And ECMO, it's like a bypass for your heart and your lungs. It's just so the patient can kind of rest and give their body time to recover. And so that's what we had to do with Jackson. They had to put him on the ECMO, and he was on it for 12 days. And we were able to have surgery for him to repair the diaphragmatic hernia. And when they did the surgery, they actually discovered he didn't have a diaphragm on his right side. And so they actually used Gore-Tex. It's a material that they'll use that will grow with them to kind of close that area. And they pushed his liver back down. So thankfully, they were able to repair it for him. With CDH, sometimes there's other issues. We were able to do the surgery, and he actually was doing well. And pulmonary hypertension often happens with babies that have CDH. Their lungs and their heart it can't keep up. And he developed pulmonary hypertension. He ended up getting a trach. We thought, okay, we're on the way to go home, and we didn't. Unfortunately, as I said, there is a 50% statistic rate of a baby not making it. However, there are success stories. I actually have a cousin who also had a baby soon after we had Jackson that had CDH. Her name is Alice. She had a left-sided hernia, and she's doing great. And a lot of times, girls actually have a higher success rate, so girl power, of surviving. And so with CDH, you never know whether the baby will survive or whether they're going to have complications as they get older, because there's a long list of complications that could happen with CDH. With Alice, other than she had a hole in her heart that they were able to repair, she's not had any other issues.
You said something about earlier, and this may not even have any meaning on the statistics, but you were talking about 80% was like right side,
Yes.
The other 20% was left sided. Have they found anything with depending on which side that hole's on that leads to more of a survival versus non?
So the right sided, you're less likely to survive, because more than likely when it's right sided, your liver does get pushed up. It does make their lungs smaller. So the prognosis, if you have a left sided hernia, it is greater for survival rate. But again, they say CDH is like a snowflake. There's no two alike.
Now, so with Jackson, you were at UVA the entire time,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Now you were talking about he discovered I can't even talk right now. You're gonna me. I'm trying not to be. I'm not. If we cry, it's okay. I want everyone to know that, and it's because I think one of the things people do need to hear that there are people that go through this daily. I mean, whether it's from miscarriage, whether it is from, having a child that has, a defect, whether it's just you find out in utero that there's something wrong. And I mean, when you found out, I'm sure like you were already going through all these things, like how is that going to affect him when he's born?
Yes.
So there's a lot of stress even through that as well.
And a lot of times with CDH, they discover there's other abnormalities with the babies. We had actually done testing after we found out about CDH. And when we were at UVA for our, I can't even think. When we were meeting the doctors.
Like your
there.
consult?
Yes, our consult.
There
Thank
you
you. When
I'm here for you.
We were there. Thank you, Heather. They had actually come and told us, they were like, we got the results from Roanoke, and the baby is actually has tested positive for Down syndrome. And we were like, okay, that's one more thing added to the plate. Okay, we've got this. But when he was born, he was negative for Down syndrome. So there is a lot of times different issues with babies that are CDH. They'll check for those chromosome abnormalities and things like that. And when a baby with CDH is born, a lot of times they do not want the baby to cry when they deliver. They want to try to intubate, put that ventilator down their throats before they cry because of that breath of out of their lungs. So it was like a circus in the hospital delivery room. We laughed because there was just a few people in there, and then when it was time for me to start pushing, it was people everywhere moving around. And so as soon as Jackson was born, I mean, they got him. We actually learned after the fact that they actually had to do CPR on him when he was first born. And he did cry out before they got the ventilator in him. But again, I mean, that was just a fluke chance. You never know what will happen.
Now you said you have a cousin.
Yes.
So are genetics, do they play into it at all? Or they don't know?
They do not believe that it does.
Okay.
We did some testing with a university up north, had come down to get our blood work and their blood work to try to see if there was anything. And they did not see anything that would make them believe that it was genetics. We have a second son. His name is Logan. So that was always a fear of, oh my gosh, will our next child have it?
I was going to ask you how that kind of, now when you became pregnant with Logan, do they, because they know the back history, did you have to go through anything different, like as far as your treatment, like your doctor's appointments?
Yes. In the beginning, we had to meet with the high-risk specialist, do extra testing, and then it was at, I guess, 18 weeks. We were discharged. Everything looked normal, and we were good. And he is a very wide open 6-year-old.
He is adorable. Can I just add? I
was almost
love him.
here
He's so
today.
cute. Oh, you should have brought him.
He had to took over the show, y'all. We laugh and say that he is his brother, and him together, and that's why he is so hyper and wide open. But if you see me out and about and at many business events, you will see Logan with me, because I homeschool him, so he's my little partner in crime. And he knows about his brother. We don't keep it a secret from him. Someone asked me the other day, oh, so do you just have him as your son? And I was like, well, that's one of those questions you never know how to answer.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh, I have a brother in heaven. Remember, Mom?"
Right.
As if I forgot. And I was like, "Yes." So I do have a son that's in heaven, and his name's Jackson. And so I get to use that moment even just to kind of share about CDH when someone asks about him. It's one of those things you pray that you never have to deal with. It's definitely made me stronger. And so I've used it to just kind of keep pushing forward. With Finding Joy Boutique. That's why, why it's turquoise. And Finding Joy, you're going to find most of my items, whether it's a t-shirt, hat, or one of my bags or something, it's going to be inspiring. My goal is to share the love of Jesus with others. And a lot of that's because with Jackson, we learned how much prayer changes things, and just how much your community will stand behind you when you need them, and share love with you. And so I just want to try to do the same thing for others.
And I think that is, when and I tell you, a lot of people have small businesses have backstories, and I love that about Finding Joy Boutique, because you're right. Everything that I have ever gotten from you, or I've seen at events, or even you have things up at BVA
Yes.
and stuff like that. They are inspiring. My daughter loves the shirt you made her for the gymnastics. Her little cartwheel shirt. She wears that all the time. But and I love to hear. Let me rephrase that. I don't love to hear, but knowing that you took something, that could have very well brought
me
you to
down.
your knees,
Yes.
and never, you could have just stayed in that depression and that, but you made something out of it, and you brought Jackson, with you,
Yes.
and have incorporated it into your business is just, it's fabulous.
Thank you.
And again, Logan, we had our evening of elegance last week, and this young man escorted his mother. I will say, she was his date, and he looked so handsome when he came in there, and he was so well behaved, and just yes, ma'am. And when I was talking to him, and he's so cute.
He definitely had the pie before dinner.
Did he?
Yes.
I had the pie before dinner too.
Mom,
I ate a
can I
couple
please
bites.
have a bite? Not yet. Wait. He ended up having 2 slices, but
And I loved your little story about you might win 5 cents. I was going to
yes.
come up to you and be like, here's 5 cents. Thank you for being here.
when I asked Logan if he wanted to go with me to the award ceremony, he was like, "Oh, are you going to win an award?" And I was like, "No, buddy, Mom's not going to be winning anything." And he goes, "You might win 5 cents." Unfortunately, Logan, I didn't even win 5 cents.
But she won the award for the cutest date.
Yes.
I will say that. I have to make a little sign and give it to him. But I think, having you on the show today, I know you were nervous about coming on and sharing your story. And I know when we're on Talk Local to Me, a lot of our shows are about small business, and we're in here laughing, and we're in here having a good time. And, but I think that it is important for people listening to hear the stories behind the business. It's also important for people who are out there listening that have gone through something just like you have. And
Yes.
they sit there and they think like, that's it. Like, I can't move on. I can't go forward. Whether, like you said, it's something like this, whether it's a miscarriage, whether, they're still, they have a child. I know, baby Noah from our area
Yes.
is still, yes. And baby Wyatt.
Yes.
There's 2. But we have people struggling all over, and I don't say much, about, cause like I had a miscarriage in between my son and my daughter now. And I don't talk about, that very often, but Riley does know she's my rainbow baby. We talk about it all the time. And, but you don't put it out there much.
Yeah.
You don't share it because people think it's, taboo to share.
Yes.
Like, is it going to hurt their feeling? I don't want to talk about it. It's something that shouldn't be shared. But, I think there is there's a lot of people out there that have this, these things happening. And the more you hold it in, that's where the depression really starts to set in and
It
form.
really does. And some people, when they ask me if I have another child or anything, and I'll tell them, And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. And I tell them, no, it's okay. I mean, he might not be here, but he was still very important. And he has changed our lives forever. And sometimes, it is hard to share about it. And there's times where I can talk about it without crying. And then there's other times where I can barely say 2 words without crying. It just kind of depends on the day. But don't let it stop you from asking, or if you want to know more information about CDH or about Jackson. I'd love to share. Can't promise I won't cry, but I'm more than willing to share with you about it.
So I was going to say, if someone is listening and maybe they were just told that their child is going to have CDH, or
Yes.
maybe they had a child with CDH and whether that child is the 50% that did or did not, what would you share with them as far as like, do you have something you would just say as far as, encouraging?
For me, mine would be...
I should have known I'd make you cry with this one. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I pray that you have a strong support family, whether it's your family, your friends, or your church. If it was not for our church and for God, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, listen to her, little Miss Christian, but truly, if it was not for them, I don't know how we could have gotten through it as a family. Our church actually supported us so we could stay in Charlottesville for the 4 months that Jackson was alive. I was able to quit my job to stay there. They paid for our housing and everything while we were there. And if you're able to spend every minute you can with your child in the NICU, take the pictures. My husband laughed and said that Jackson didn't know what my face looked like because I always had the camera in front of me. Now I am thankful that I have all of those pictures and that I did take that time. Of course, live in the moment as well if you're able to hold them. It was actually weeks before we ever got to hold Jackson. Cherish those moments. Find a support group, support family, your church. Pray. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it's easy once you're praying and you've got those people. It is still very hard, but it helps you to get through it, even on those darkest days.
And thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And whether your CDH Awareness Day is March 31st for you or April 19th, or, learn more about it. And, if you have questions, like Cheyenne said, she's definitely willing to talk. But you can also find more about CDH online. You can go to different, websites and find out more. But lastly, I do want to ask a little bit more about Finding Joy Boutique. If people are interested in seeing some of your items, where can they find you at a lot of the time?
Yes. So you can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. You're going to find it under Finding Joy Boutique LLC, and also a group on Facebook, Finding Joy Boutique. That is where you're going to see me being the most active and interacting with just the group and the people in it, and sharing inspirational things as often as I can. And you can also find me online at www.findingjoyboutique.com. Shopping from there. I have some items in BVA Mercantile here in town, and I'm working on going into some other places. So you can find me with t-shirts, hats, garden flags. If there's a custom order you want, I'm actually working right now on some team shirts. I'd love to help you. Just because it's not on my website or in my group doesn't mean that I can't help you create it.
And I know you've done a few festivals, but that's not,
Yes.
you don't do do you do very many of those throughout the year? I know you did the Sunflower Festival.
Yes, I did the Beaver Dam Farm Sunflower last year. I'm hoping and praying that I will get accepted for this year's. It's in September. There are quite a few vendor shows that I'll do. I just started doing them more recently. April 23rd, I'll be on the road in Covington. And so I'm working on getting some more lined up for this year.
Awesome. Well, definitely encourage those of you listening to check Finding Joy Boutique out on Facebook. And Cheyenne does do wonderful work. And it was funny you said something about teams. I looked at Autumn because Autumn and I are coaching softball this year for my littlest one, her sister. So we're doing the 9-10-year-old girls softball team here in Bedford. And so we have our first practice tonight, but it would be fun to get them some shirts towards the end of the year that says we're going to be the Bedford Slammers?
Yes.
Is that the name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bedford Slammers.
Coach doesn't know the name.
Well, I do, but so I'll tell you the little backstory on that was so I used to coach in Bedford years ago, and I coached Autumn, and I coached her for like 4 or 5 years in a group of girls, and we were the Bedford Dirt Devils, kind of like the Tasmanian Devils. We roll around the thing. And so we went back and forth on whether or not to be the Dirt Devils again. But the sad thing is, in this day and age, I wasn't sure how many people would like to have the name Devil associated with their child.
Yeah.
So we decided let's just scrap it. And so now I'm just trying to get used to not being the Dirt Devils being the Slammers. We went back and forth on names for like the longest time.
We did.
Our 9-year-old wanted to be like what? The Bedford Armies
and the Bedford something. I don't know.
The tree. She's one of those people, like, she'll get a stuffed animal and be like, what should I name it? And you'll be driving along and she'll be like, oh, I could name it Tree, because she just sees a tree.
Yes.
Logan will be like, he'll have a brown dog. Oh, what's his name? Brownie.
Yeah.
What's that one? Blackie.
Yep.
Your original child.
I agree. Same. Well, I do thank you so much for coming on today and sharing, what is definitely a hard story to talk about.
Thank you.
But a story that by sharing it, you're giving other people hope and lifting them up, and, just letting people know that, times are hard, but you can get through it.
Yes, you can.
And you can find some joy out of everything.
Yes.
Huh?
You can find it. It's there. You just got to look for it.
So thank you again so much for being here and sharing that with us. And, again, if you're listening, find out more about it. I'm sure there's ways you can support others that are struggling with this. You may not even know that there's someone in your area that is struggling from it. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit with my new events director, Danielle. How are you, Danielle?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad I found a Danielle. I searched long and far and hard for a Danielle just so that Woody's prophecy would come true. Are you listening now? It's 12:39.
I am tuned.
It was all a plan.
I have been tuned in the whole episode.
Pop quiz. How many people have CDH? No, I'm kidding.
Good job.
That's that homeschool mama coming out.
There you go. So we found Danielle, and I'm super happy. She started. You've been with us about a week now, right?
Yep. Last week was my first week.
Last week was her first week, and it's great because we just kind of throw her in there. We're like, hey, here we have 5 events coming up. Start working on all of them at the same time, and see what you can do. So, but I'm really enjoying having her with us. But the other cool thing, and one of the things that I think when we talked with Danielle, one of the things that really drew her to me, I don't know about you, Autumn, or I will say one thing we did a little differently than a lot of places do is that when we did interviews, I didn't just interview just me and the interviewing. We didn't do that. I actually brought Danielle in and she met with the entire team, like all the staff. So it was like me, Autumn, Andrea, our director of membership, because our organization, we are a team. And so I don't feel like it's just my job to choose someone that may or may not work well with the rest of our staff because they have to work together. And so I said, heck, we'll just bring her into 3 people looking at her like, hey. So,
and the interview was not a normal interview either.
None of our interviews are ever normal interviews.
Like we would start on one topic and it would just go from there.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. It was so bad.
That's what Danielle said yesterday, like the squirrel. I'm like, oh, there it is. But she hung in there with us for the interview, and she decided, heck, I'd like to be a part of that crazy crowd. And but what I loved about Danielle is that not only is she coming in to be an events person, but as I've said before, the Central Virginia Business Coalition, what we do is support local business, and she actually has her own local business in a way. She runs, different things that she's done in the past. So she understands small business. She understands like how hard you have to work to, get your name out there and to, get people to purchase items from you or just heck commit to things is the crazy thing. So, Danielle, you do, and I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Arbonne?
It's Arbonne.
Arbonne. Okay. I always want to call it Arabon, but it's not Arabonne.
Everybody says it like that. And I don't know why, because there's not an I.
I know.
in between the A and the R.
You're right. There isn't. So I don't, maybe it's because I want to be fancy. So I'm like, Arabonne. That sounds fancier than Arbonne. Anyway. So, so you do, and you still are doing I'm going to say Arbonne.
Yes.
What is Arbonne?
So I started Arbonne about 2 years ago just because I fell in love with the products, but I fell in love with them because Arbonne they have the cleanest of the clean standards. In the U.S., we only ban 11 harmful chemicals in all of our body washes, perfumes, makeup, hair stuff, all of our products. And Arbonne actually bans over 2,000. So they're very clean standards. We have products for men, babies, kids, women, anything and everything you can imagine. There's over 300 products. And we focus on healthy living from the inside out.
And see, that's also why I brought her on, because I need to be healthy and I am not.
How can you help us?
And I actually met Heather a few months ago and her daughter Autumn at an Arbonne event. I had
That's
never
true.
met them before. And then I applied for this job and I had kind of forgotten about it because I hadn't heard back from Heather. And then she emailed me and I was like, I know her. And then when I went in for
like
the
Elf.
when I went in for the interview, I just automatically felt so comfortable because it wasn't at all like your typical interview. We were all just sitting around a table talking and getting to know each other. And it wasn't like your typical interview questions like, what's your best strengths and what are your weaknesses? It was I felt like I'd be a great fit for the team.
Yes. And so I bought stuff at that and I haven't even opened
She still
it.
hasn't used it.
No,
It's been 4 months.
So that's why I'm like, so I need you to show me how to do this. But it's so funny because like even today we're walking around downtown Bedford and like we were going up this hill and I was like, I don't want to come walk up this hill again like twice. And she's like, come on, Heather, you can do it. Like walk up the hill. And I'm like, this is why I need you in my life because I'm so lazy. If I can take a shortcut, I'm taking a shortcut. But that's one of I drink a lot of coffee and I need to start drinking my coffee. What did I get? Protein?
Coffee protein.
Yes, instead of regular coffee.
Which
right?
you can actually mix with your coffee, or you can make a coffee protein frappuccino. There's many ways you can use the protein. You can make pancakes, protein balls, muffins.
She doesn't know me that well. So let's go back to the lazy part. I just need where we dump it into a drink.
You can just mix it with milk.
There you go. That's what I'm going to do. Mix it with milk. But so for people who don't know what Arbonne is, though, you talk about products. What
She
type of
said
products?
Arbonne.
Arbonne. By the end of the show, it'll be Arbonne nationally. But what are the different types? I know you talk about different like perfumes and.
I don't even know why I said that. We don't even have perfume.
Oh, okay. Well, then mix the
We have
perfume.
lotion.
There's no perfume.
So when I was introduced to Arbonne, it was when I was in college. I was pretty unhealthy, like eating out every day at Chick-fil-A, going to Starbucks all the time. I just did not live a healthy lifestyle whatsoever. And I had put on some weight and I just didn't feel confident in myself. So a friend had approached me about Arbonne products and I was a very hard no. I was like, I'm not going to do one of those things with you. Like, I'm not going to be one of those girls. And then I eventually gave in and I was like, I'll just try it because it was a 90-day money back guarantee. So I started our 30 Days to Healthy Living set, which is basically just like, you treat it like a lifestyle change. It's very doable because you're in like a coaching group. You have one-on-one coaching. We give you all the recipes you need and all the help. You're always in a group of people doing it with you. Like we have a group chat. We text every day, like what we're eating for breakfast. It comes with a variety of different products, but mostly just teaches you healthy habits that you can maintain even after the 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So our nutrition products are things like we have a gut health supplement, our protein shakes. We have collagen for hair, skin, and nail growth. I use all of our makeup and our skincare. And something that makes us special is all of our products are vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. There's no processed dyes or sugars or anything that could be harmful to your skin or your body.
I just realized I'm out of my 90-day warranty. I haven't used it yet. I'm just playing, but I do want to get I do want to get some of that collagen because I don't think that was in my package. But you also do like sunscreen. I've heard a lot of people talk about the sunscreen you have kids.
We have a baby sunscreen.
Yeah.
I actually use it on my face just because I have very sensitive skin, and using regular sunscreen like causes me to break out. But we actually just came out with an adult sunscreen. I mean, kids can use it too, obviously, but we offer a baby sunscreen along with our baby line that's like body wash, lotions. A lot of kids can use it. It's very sensitive, non-scented. But we have an adult sunscreen and self-tanner now, which is cool.
So you can use the gut health in a way and sort of like probiotics. Like you hear like kids that have issues with, their stomach or even adults, I guess.
Yeah. So I have a lot of stomach problems. I've been tested for celiac and stuff very recently, and they can't figure out what's wrong with me. But the gut health really helps me because it's a prebiotic, a probiotic, and it has live digestive enzymes in it. So it's very good for your stomach, helping get all the bad bacteria out and put good bacteria in.
Let's talk after the show, please.
Sounds good.
I actually use it, and it is very.
I in the past have been a nanny the last 2 years, and the little girl that I've been babysitting, she loves her Arbonne shake. She always asks for it when she comes over. I just give her a chocolate shake with fruit in it, and so it's very healthy for her, and I know it's giving her a lot of good nutrients and vitamins that she needs.
Mm-hmm. I had to laugh the other day because someone was asking about a nanny, and somebody tagged Danielle in it. I was like, nope, she's working for me now.
I love kids.
She will not be nannying. There will be no nannying for Danielle. But no, I think that's I think it's great that you have products that like kids can use and adults. And
I've even got my boyfriend hooked. At first, he was like, "That's so weird. Like, I'm not going to drink your little shakes." And then I caught him using my face wash, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, are you a girl now?"
Who's your fiance now?
Yeah. Oh, my fiance. Yes. And the other day, he's like, "I'm out of my body wash. Can you get me some more?" And we'll like fight over the fizz now. Like, if there's only 2 packets left, we'll fight over it because he loves it so much. He drinks it at work because he works night shift.
And the fizz what does the fizz do?
So the fizz is like a coffee or energy drink replacement. It only has 20 calories. It's made of B vitamins and green tea, which gives you a natural form of energy, unlike coffee. We just say coffee is kind of bad during the 30 days because it's very high and it's very acidic. So during the 30 days, we try to rid of all like inflammatory foods and things. So
I'm sorry, try not to laugh. Because Autumn just jumps up and leaves the room, and I'm like, "What? Something we said?"
A lot of
what happened
people
to her?
have further stomach issues with drinking coffee. So the fizz is like a natural replacement that gives you more energy and it's good for your body.
She's having stomach issues. She had to leave the room. No, I'm just playing. But, I feel you because I do drink a lot of coffee. I'm one of those people that drinks way more coffee than anything else. And I know that's actually damaging to you because you're actually sucking the water out of your body. And then I don't, and yes, I say water. I don't drink enough.
She's from the north.
I don't drink enough water in, just during the day to supplement. And so I think that actually ends up making me tired, like by the end of the day. And then you think you need more coffee, but you really don't. You just, you just need to drink more water. But
yeah, I used to drink 3 cups of coffee a day, and now I just drink my fizz, and it gives me way more energy than coffee ever did. But I love coffee, but it just doesn't love me.
Well, we're really happy to have Danielle on our staff because, as you guys can tell, she's knowledgeable about her own business, and we're excited to get her meeting and working with other businesses in our area and becoming more knowledgeable about what all that they do. And then, the events that we host, but also looking at new events. We're going to be doing like a Christmas in July event in July. And, we've already started talking about like a place to potentially have that. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun having her on staff and now having a full staff. So it's not just me by myself. It's not
Heather.
Me, myself, and I and Autumn, the volunteer. We've actually got her.
No, I got upgraded.
Upgraded to volunteer, not director.
No.
Let me shoot you back down real quick. But yeah, so we did upgrade you from volunteer. And Autumn, she just started playing volleyball?
Yeah, yesterday was our first day of the league I'm participating in at East Lake Community Church. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm trying to be healthy, but
yeah. Well, I'm excited because on our April 13th, the April 13th episode of Talk Local to Me, we are going to have Jess Chatton coming back into the studio with us, and she is going to be interviewing us. And so for those of you who've listened to this show now for a little over a year, Jess is going to actually host the show. So it's not going to be Heather hosting. We're going to have Jess hosting, and she's going to interview each one of us individually about, again, ourselves so that you guys get to know a little bit behind the scenes of who we are, and then the CVABC and what it's all about. Because I know, I don't try and use this platform as a a reason for people to join the CVABC or really learning about the business. It's more about those businesses that, you know, we're promoting. But we decided to have a show where you guys can learn more about the Central Virginia Business Coalition and why we do what we do, and what our why is. And then next week, I'll also have Chris Morris on. If you guys have been getting those Facebook notifications where it's telling you to do page authentication, or they're going to shut your page down, things like that, that may be. Yeah, same. I've gotten it on a couple pages, but it's spam. So do not click on it. But Chris Morris is going to come in the studio and talk with us a little bit about, you know, Facebook and those types of the spam you're getting, how you can, you know, how do you get around receiving that? What can you do to kind of make yourself more secure on the internet? So we're going to be talking with him next week. But until then, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Weather's looking a little dicey for tomorrow, so be aware of the weather. And mark your calendars for April 9th in downtown Bedford at 10 a.m. for Bedford in Bloom. And until next week, talk local to you.